Hi, everybody. It is October 5, 2024. Hello, GeoFactor 3, Andrew Cruz, Alicia DeMoss, and Julio, and Crazy Pots, and got James B., Vincent, T. Lamb. Biggest takeaway from today. I think people never needed government to take care of them. Yeah, absolutely. So you went into Tennessee bringing supplies? Is that right? I love hearing what subscribers are doing. Barb in Ohio, hello. Jane Northrup, BMCC, Joni, Sith Trish, Outlaw Biker, Hypocrites Matrix, Marlo, hello. Patricia White, hello. Let me see if I can get a response from T. Lamb. Kim Blanchard, hello. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. Yeah, I know. Analog, I know. Shauna Howard, hello. I really do hope that all of you are fine or decent or okay or boy, another hurricane coming. Doesn't look like it's going to be going up from Florida, across Florida, but Florida sure does not need another hurricane. And wasn't it? Okay. Hurricane Beryl did a lot of damage in Florida. Hurricane Beryl. Remember that? That was only about a month ago? A month or 2 months? Our ditches are full of water down here from the last hurricane. We can't hold any more water. Okay, all right. Hopefully T. Lamb will respond. I'd love to hear her take on things in Tennessee, on things in North Carolina. Yeah, so let's just do a quick look at radar. Well, it's been very quiet since Hurricane Helene, right? No severe weather warnings. We've got a lot of mess here in the Gulf. It looks like it's just being stretched to the east, to the west. Which way you going, buddy? But right off, I think this is like the Naples area of Florida. You got the supercells. Look at these frequencies in California. Look at these frequencies. So when a whole lot talk about Californians being crazy and all of this, and no, not. Oh, I did it again. I can't believe it. All right. Quiet. Yep. Right. Okay. There was nothing about an hour ago, but now we're seeing, well, what looks like precipitation in Wisconsin, looks like precipitation up here in Minnesota, but we don't know. Here, which way are you going? You going to the east? You going to the west? It looks like you're just being ripped, stretched in opposite directions. Here are the supercells down here in Florida, but look at these frequencies right here in Southern California. So when we are talking, I'm not talking, but a whole lot talk about the crazy stuff going on in California. There's a lot of conservatives in California. So let's not just group the state population into one leftist category. That's not what's happening. But we know that extremely low frequencies can be used for mind control. And this has been going on for years, pretty much 24/7. They've got these extremely low frequencies blasting away in Southern California. Okay, so yeah, no severe weather warnings. But I'm going to start this on October 6th, which is tomorrow, at 6 p.m. You have a lot of severe weather that could cause some storm surge. Looks like the Tampa area of Florida. And you've got some severe weather coming in by midnight Monday. And then it travels south. This is not what you need. So that's like, I'm not quite sure the area. Let's just check it out. So let's go to Florida, shall we? Okay, so wrong place. That's actually, I think, south of Orlando. Yeah. That's going to be hitting just east of Sarasota area. It's not what you need. For all of you, it is not what you need in Florida. All right. Boone, North Carolina is fine. Okay. So we're going to get right into it. Tropical storm Milton, which is expected to turn into a Category 3 hurricane hitting Florida Wednesday. I didn't go through the forecast model. I'm sorry. All right, so it's hard. It's hard to comprehend the amount of severe weather, hurricanes, tropical storms hitting a lot of states, but Florida, they are so destroying you. Florida, I think they want for only the quote-unquote elite. So this is October 7 at midnight. A lot of severe weather rolling in by 6 a.m., Tampa area, and it looks, the Tampa area, and not Orlando. Well, I think it's like the Avon Park, Sebring, Lake Placid area. That's what it looks like. Just here in the center. Move it over a little. But you're going to have to pay very close attention to the weather now. Hardly anybody in Tennessee, North Carolina, even Georgia, expected what they got. Okay, so it doesn't even matter what the forecasts are, what mainstream media is telling you. You really, at this point, need to be prepared for anything. 6 a.m. Monday, here we have the tropical storm coming in, and it's expected on the 9th. But you're still going to get severe weather. That's the east coast of Florida, which is looking well, just east of Orlando area. I can't really tell. More concerned with this hurricane. So October 8th, Tuesday at 6 a.m. All right, severe weather moves out of Florida, but here, what is this, spawn off of the hurricane? I guess so. All right, so here we go. By October 9 at midnight, Tampa area, there you go. You're getting a lot of rain before the Category 3 comes in. Right here. October 9 at 12 noon. A whole lot of severe weather is traveling across, even right into North Florida, Jacksonville area. And here we go. Midnight, October 10. This is the forecast model. It's only one. It could change. Midnight, boom, you get it. Pretty much in the same area where Hurricane Helene hit. Right? Okay, we're doing it again? Really? We are. So, 6 p.m., October 9, it's coming across, coming inland, but it looks like landfall, October 10, midnight, Tampa area. So, oh boy. All right, you guys, be very careful. Be very careful. Yeah. So, here we go. AccuWeather's team of expert meteorologists monitoring part of the Gulf of Mexico. Milton is expected to be a major hurricane, Category 3, at landfall. Besides torrential rainfall and flooding, Milton can bring rough surf, dangerous seas, and strong damaging winds that cause power outages and even tornadoes. That's what hurricanes always bring, right? No, these are new. These are new hurricanes. These are manufactured hurricanes. I think more people are getting it, but we need an awful lot more. And here's Into Thin Air.
Everyone, welcome back. I hate to do this, but we are just 4 days away, it seems, from a large major hurricane landfall in western Florida once again. As of today, we're looking at a landfall just south of where we saw Hurricane Helene make its first landfall in Florida before making that treacherous western hook up into North Carolina and the surrounding areas, causing those devastating floods that we are still dealing with in every single way. But now we need to shift focus once again, my friends. We are looking at a very serious situation in the Gulf already. You will see warnings about this all throughout the day and through the end of the weekend. This will be the talk of the town. Now, something else that will be of great concern clearly is the fact that FEMA has already said they don't have enough money for what's going on near Asheville and the other areas near western North Carolina, Tennessee. So I feel like a state of emergency will be called fairly quickly so DeSantis could get funds into Florida as soon as possible for the preparation of this storm, because we only have 4 days. We're talking October 9th landfall of a major hurricane. That is according to these models now. We do have a little time for change, but over the last 3 days, these models have progressed, making this a tighter and tighter storm, stronger, and now a major hurricane landfall. in what looks like today the exact same place we had landfall of Hurricane Helene. My friends, you cannot make this up. This hurricane is coming from a different spot of the Gulf, but all in all, as of this data you're looking at, it is making landfall in the same exact spot. It will cross Florida west to east, going back out into the Atlantic Ocean likely, so we do not really have to worry about this thing going up into the U.S. as of yet, but right now focus will be on that western coast of Florida between now and landfall on October 9th. So please start
preparing. The link is in the chat, and if you have not subscribed to Into Thin Air, I highly recommend you do, because he is staying on it. And I heard this news broadcast, this mainstream media meteorologist who actually said that before it was a tropical storm, no, it started to be a tropical storm in the Pacific, came across Mexico, and now it's just kind of circling around off the east coast of Mexico. Wait, it started in the Pacific, came across Mexico, now it's just hanging out off the coast, maybe taking a vacation before it starts moving for Florida. No, we never had reports like this. Now we seem to, in the recent years, have the most bizarre reports from meteorologists that I guess we just have to not question and believe, right? No. Hot embers. I just want to go through a couple of, other things before getting to, yes, Hurricane Helene, the destruction, what FEMA is doing and not doing. It is so outrageous. And it just seems to be getting more outrageous as we go on every day. Hot embers falling on our property, Wyoming wildfires.
Embers coming down on our property. Can you see? Do you see that? That is ash falling from the sky down on us. Yes, it is everywhere. Oh my goodness.
So there's an awful lot of Americans who are concerned about fires, flooding, storms, and she is one of them. And I will post a link if you want to check it out. And she's talking about the fire that is pretty close to her in Wyoming. This is the Elk Fire.
3 miles outside of the city of Dayton, and the fire feels close. I could only begin to imagine what it feels like to live this close to that fire.
What sort of things would you take with you? Where would you go? Where would you take your pets and your livestock?
All questions living in the town of Dayton right now.
I started my day with a cup of coffee in my hand, standing behind Tongue River High School, looking up at the mountain with the flames. It's pretty overwhelming.
In 31 years, Superintendent Jeff Jones says he's never dealt with something like the nearly 50,000 acre Elk Fire, putting students back on Zoom for the foreseeable future.
We've got families in crisis. We have students that either need to go help their families pack and get ready to evacuate. We have a lot of staff members who are actually in the fire department up there fighting.
In all of its destructive force, the fire has drawn national attention.
I live in California, so I'm used to wildfires. The mountains are always up so high, we don't really get to get that close.
But it isn't just onlookers who have traveled from the far and wide.
From all over the country, resources are coming to help. We have an operations section chief that if you hear him talk, you know that he's from the New England area.
People from all walks of life are coming together to protect places like the Mountain Bar Inn.
It's actually the last retail place before you get up onto the mountain. It's my life. It's the only thing I have.
The place with a lot of history, not just to the town, but to people like Denise Townsend, who purchased the bar nearly a decade ago with her late husband.
Are you ready to go?
In ways, I mean, I've thought about all the pictures that are, 50 years old in here, and it's like, it would take a lot of time to take them down.
But Superintendent Jones says if the worst hits, the best of Sheridan County will continue to strike back.
If something
Yeah. Okay. A lot of people are on edge. And I just saw Jay Northrup's comment. Unnatural heat continues in Arizona. They're using some type of atmospheric heaters. Plants in major stress all over the place. And I've heard from the subscriber that I was staying with in Arizona, and she has said the same thing. Same thing, that it's brutal outside. I have to say, Idaho, what's going on? I saw a major dump of black carbon dust, which is a cheap ingredient that they use to create atmospheric heat. That was last night. Again today. The sun is, it doesn't matter what the temperature is. If you're standing in that sun and in direct line of it, it's very hard because I feel like it burns my skin within minutes. But it's still hot. It's the first week of October, and apparently here, this is very unusual. So, I just want you to hear a few minutes of Appalachia's Homestead with Patera. And I want to post her link. The people are mad as hell. And she's talking about, she was also, where did she go? Irwin, Tennessee. And she's back now. But what she says here, for all of the people who think that they're targeting red states, conservative areas, you're wrong. Just think of California, okay? But this is a woman who lives there. I've said it. Maybe you'll believe her.
Far away from here, and you're angry too, and you see the reality of where we are as American citizens, you've been completely abandoned by your government. We told you. I'm going to say that because there's people that, that kind of believe in that, and they feared it would happen, but they thought maybe people like me and you were off of our rockers, and we were like, and this has nothing to do with red states versus blue states. I mean, look at Maui. If you're not from this area, and I'm going to say this just real casual like, you might perceive North Carolina as a red state. So be it. Actually, I think it's a battle state. But have you ever been to Asheville? Really? Have you spent time over there? Let me put it to you this way. And if this is not the time to say, please don't take me out of context. But prior to this event, Asheville is about an hour and a half from me. Okay. I spent a lot of time growing up going to Asheville. East Tennessee has been a lot, we're just like this. Okay. We were once North Carolina. Okay. So, Asheville is not like a lot of the communities around Asheville. And look what happened to Asheville. So this doesn't have anything to do with your political alignment. It has a lot to do with where are you located geographically and what does anybody want from that spot? And you know what? You're just in the way. Okay.
That's exactly right. Asheville is a city of just under 100,000, and it's very liberal. This happens in Montana, in Maine. Maine, it's Portland. Unfortunately, the liberals have gained control in an awful lot of very conservative states. And the conservatives, I think, like Maine, there are more conservative Mainers than there are liberal. So they need to come out in force and push those liberals back where they belong. But they don't. So the liberals carry the day. You see it in Montana. You see it in California. You see it in North Carolina. It doesn't matter, red or blue. Doesn't matter, low income or not. It matters that they're just killing off an awful lot of us. The rural areas, certainly, they want to push people into the cities where they can have easy monitoring and surveillance of everybody. And then if they have resources that these incredibly psychopathic, greedy criminals want, like the lithium mining, the quartz mining in this Western North Carolina area, which they've been trying to get the mining going, and the locals have been, well, from what I heard, some have been quiet because money has come in to the towns from these companies. But there's been a lot of pushback, and they have not wanted the mining. And these people are so psychopathic that they just say, well, all right, we can't do it that way. Let's just flood them out. So that's what we've got going. Notice to vacate, closure to public. What is this? RV park and country store. It's a campground, Ella. This is to inform you that the property located on Ella Road, Bryson City, North Carolina, has been officially closed due to safety concerns for an indefinite period and must be vacated immediately. Infrastructure, including sewer, water, and electrical systems, suffered major catastrophic damage during the recent flooding event. Due to the damage and loss of these systems, it is unsafe to occupy the campground. Duke Energy has disconnected power to the campground. This is my family up in North Carolina. They now have 30 days to move what wasn't destroyed. So even those who don't get destroyed, get destroyed. Bryson City. Let's just check out where that is. If that is in Western, it probably is, but no. Oh. Okay, yeah, it's up in the mountains. Up in the mountains. So, yeah, this is going on. Do you think this is the only place it's going on? I don't think so. FEMA issues warning on false Helene rumors, launches a response page. Oh, they're trying to correct all of the disinformation and misinformation. A rumor response page. So, whether these are the rumors, the funding of FEMA, the efforts to fly illegal immigrants into parts of the United States using FEMA funding. FEMA has enough money right now for immediate response and recovery needs. Well, they still don't seem to be out and about. Tennessee, North Carolina. If you were affected by Helene, do not hesitate to apply for disaster assistance, as there is a variety of help available for different needs. Oh, really? What I've been hearing from people is they've applied, those who actually have internet access. A whole lot don't. How the hell are they going to apply? Because you can't find FEMA anywhere there. Okay. Those who have applied have been denied. It also said that no money is being diverted. No, we are not diverting any money to support international efforts or border-related issues That's all false. And you can go to that site, you can look at their rumor page and believe it. Your government doesn't lie to you. Believe it. Schmucks, go for it. And here, this is what Mayorkas said. Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, for those who don't know, we are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. Another hurricane is hitting in 4 days. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season and what is imminent. I guess tropical storm / hurricane Milton is imminent. Why don't they have the funds? And it goes on, right? Yeah. It also addressed claims that the Red Cross is not available in North Carolina or is taking over shelters. Okay, the Red Cross and FEMA are tied to the hip. That's why people should not be donating to the Red Cross. I have posted several videos on the corruption of the Red Cross. Not a whole lot of people get helped by the Red Cross. Okay, but they take in a tremendous amount of money for each of these weather events. Where does the money go? To the top tier running the Red Cross. We do not forcefully take over shelters. However, we do provide management support at the request of partners. Well, the Red Cross and FEMA are partners in our U.S. corporation, and they don't do it forcefully. I'm hearing from a lot on the ground there that there's a lot of force being used to prevent people from helping people. Along with Mayorkas, along with the Biden-Harris regime, provides aid and comfort to illegal aliens while claiming there's no funding for American citizens. The Republican-controlled House voted to continue funding his salary mere weeks ago. The Republicans, they're getting very rich in office, but they're pretty much useless. This is Representative Andy Biggs, Republican in Arizona. That must be hard, Andy, being a Republican in Arizona. Okay, I'm not going to play this entire 6-minute video, but I sure will post the link. You can listen to, he's quite passionate. I like passionate people. And here he's talking about North Carolina. I have got people on the ground. This is firsthand information. State police have put up concrete barriers to restrict the flow of traffic from people coming in and out, to keep them from going and getting supplies. And he talks about a man who was stopped. Concrete barriers were there, and he just drove right through the concrete barriers with his truck.
Good morning. I just want to cover what I personally am getting from North Carolina, people that are there. And first and foremost, I also want to say this. I do not give a damn about Diddy. I do not give a damn about the people in Diddy. I don't give a damn about anything about that other than this in that situation, that if you mess with a minor or a child and had sexual contact with a minor or a child, or used your fame to do something weird with a kid, then I have got the solution, right? And it requires about 88, whatever that regular gasoline is. Yeah. And it's a wood chipper. And that's the sentence. But when it comes to North Carolina, I have got people on the ground. Now, I want to say this, that this is firsthand information, that this is not backed up by no media. This is people on the ground, and therefore can be considered speculation. But as you know, I mentor many people. I have a young man I mentor in North Carolina. The conversation started yesterday. He called me. He said, I'm trying to get down there with a truck full of water. He runs semis. I said, well, if you can get me some footage. He said, I can. He said, I got friends that have helicopters, and I will send you the pictures and the videos of them flying with the bodies rolling down the river. Right? And I got a good friend named Terry that lives in Georgia, and his brother lives in North Carolina. And he went up there and took supplies to his brother, his medical stuff, some groceries and everything. He loves his brother. He said, while I was up there, he said, I noticed that the state police have put up concrete barriers, right, to restrict the flow of traffic from people coming in and out of the state of North Carolina to keep them from going and getting supplies. And he said it brought up he said, I'll just tell you what he said. He said, look, he said there was a man that traveled 40 miles out of North Carolina to get groceries and supplies for his family. And upon coming back into the state line, he was stopped by the state police and told that he couldn't come in. Right? Now, he has family on the inside of the state. He lives in North Carolina, and yet he had to travel over there to get groceries. Totally understandable. But the state police stopped him. And the man did this. He ran through the barricade. And when they finally got him down, the speculation of what I've heard is that he whooped the living hell out of the state police. Whooped 3 of them, right? And that later on down the deal, that when everybody showed up over the incident, because firefighters and people of the community took the stance that, hey, if you're going to take this guy to trial, we're going to get on the jury and we're not going to convict him, right? It ain't going to fucking happen. And so like 1,000 people showed up to remove the barricades around the state on this highway, wherever it was, this major freeway that's supplying life-giving supplies to people that are in North Carolina.
Okay, so not sure 1,000 people showed up, but I've been hearing other instances where people have been so pissed that they're actually going after officials who try to stop them. What do you expect people to do? I mean, really? Okay, Chimney Rock had to have a disaster, and we're going to listen to just a few minutes of what she has to say. It's quite clear what she has to say, and the reason why I put the links in is that it's important to circulate the information. Even if you're circulating information that is pretty much the same as yesterday, but another person is speaking it, it's very important. People really do need to wake up. Yeah. Oh. All right, so I can hopefully play it from here. Yes.
Lithium. That's why they're doing it. Those aren't rumors. It's true. Chimney Rock needs us. The Kings Mountain Mine, the planned Kings Mountain Mine, has one of the few known, guys, hard rock lithium deposits in the entire United States. The Department of Energy said last week it was investing $150 million to promote domestic production of critical minerals needed for the transition to cleaner energy. Kings Mountain is believed to be among one of the largest resources in the world for lithium. These people didn't stand a chance, and none of the people there can afford to rebuild. They knew what they were doing. They don't. Oh my God. I'm reading an article on NC Newsline that was put out in August of 2023, and it says right here that yet even in the name of clean transportation, extractive industries like lithium mining still pose environmental risks. In Gaston County, arsenic naturally occurs in the rock, and residents are concerned that the cancer-causing chemical will be released during Piedmont's mining operations. Those same operations would release greenhouse gases, 330,000 tons per year, or equivalent to emissions from 66,000 gas-fueled passenger cars. Despite its ground economic promises of $3.9 billion in cumulative economic output, 428 mining-related jobs, and $45 million to local and state tax offers, Piedmont Lithium had few friends in Gaston County. They were afraid that the drinking water would become polluted, run dry, or both. They were concerned about the noise, light, blasting dust, the permanent corruption of the landscape, the risk of fire, especially if lithium hydroxide comes into contact with water. Piedmont Lithium has likely lost those people for good. But that left Gaston County commissioners a defensive line between Piedmont Lithium and the Department of Environmental Quality, which had granted every mining permit application it had reviewed in the last 53 years. Listen up. It says for the mine to be built, the county commissioners had to rezone the land. And at that time, commissioners, all of them Republican, were at best suspicious and at worst hostile toward the company, which made its first appearance before the body in 2 years. And said that Commissioner Chairman Chad Brown said, "We've tried to work with you guys. This project is based on a lot of promises. This is the worst economic development rollout he'd ever seen." He had even asked the CEO of Piedmont Lithium, Keith Phillips, to attend the meeting, but he was a no-show. It says in this article, "These people have very valid concerns," said Commissioner Vice Chairman Bob Hovis. He challenged the CEO to come and speak face-to-face. It's offensive to us that he's not here.
So I'm just going to post the link and you can listen to the remainder. Yeah, well, guess what? They did not get a warm reception from the locals there. And that doesn't stop evil. When people are evil, they're really evil. We need to get that. When you spot the evil taking place, you need a big army of good to stop them. They don't stop. And here, listen to this, okay, FEMA. How many times has this gone on? Oh.
Hey guys, Western North Carolina again, and I kind of wanted to come on here because I've seen some information from a FEMA chief inspector that you guys might want to be aware of. In the contract that you guys are going to have to sign, let me sit down. In the contract you guys are going to have to sign at the beginning of FEMA coming out, taking a look at your property before they disperse any money, you really, 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 really need to read the fine print in those, because it is a loan. It is a loan that they are giving you. You have a year to pay it back. It is not something that they disperse out to just disaster relief and you never have to pay it back. It's something that you do have to pay back. This is what he is saying. He's saying that in the contract that you got to sign in small print, and he said even with his own eyes, he has to use a magnifying glass to read these. They can seize all your land after a year and all your assets. Anything that you own, they can seize. If it's $1, if it's $750, if you do not pay them back, they will seize all your property. Be careful what you're doing. Make sure you're reading the fine print. Make sure that you're doing everything that you're supposed to do for you to protect yourself, because right now we are in a crisis, and I know that. And I do not want to see you guys go down the same rabbit hole that everybody else is going down through. This has affected many people, and it has been affecting many people. So guys, make sure you're reading those contracts. Make sure that you're reading those contracts. I'm sorry, but as a firm believer, I don't believe that they're here to help you. I don't believe that they even care. And that's my own personal opinion, and I can state that.
And I don't think that you need, to qualify your personal opinion. We're being shown that on a daily basis. They don't care. They're not there to help you. And yes, always read the fine print. Always read the fine print. Idaho does have their liberal cities, Boise, and they control. There's a lot of conservative areas outside of Boise, but it's Boise where the liberals have a hold on all of Idaho. Yeah. So, all right. Everything is about stealing. Everything is about stealing with our government. You can't trust any agency, and certainly not FEMA. Listen to this. Okay. Whew. Listen to this woman.
I'm going to start going down that rabbit hole next, but this is my FEMA story today. So my uncle has lived in St. Pete, Florida for his entire adult life. So quite some time. He's 73 years old. Born and raised in Michigan, where I'm at, blue collar dude. My whole family is a little rednecky. Call us whatever you want. We're good, hardworking people. And he has been too his whole life. He actually worked for the city in public transit for 20 years. So giving back, doing all he can, just making his way in the world. Home was completely destroyed in Helene. He had evacuated, did what he was supposed to do. He's up in a hotel and paying for the hotel himself. So he comes back to his home and it's gutted. Basically, all of his possessions are gone. The home is uninhabitable. So he obviously can't stay there. FEMA comes in. I believe that this was yesterday. FEMA comes in. They're there for 5 minutes. They didn't even go through the whole home, but you walk in and you can tell, I guess, the situation, right? So they tell him it'll be 8 to 10 business days before you hear anything. We're going to go back and look at everything. We'll let you know. All right, cool. He gets an email this morning with the results of what FEMA is going to give to him. We'll get to that in a second. First, I went back and did a little digging on FEMA myself. And in 5 minutes of Googling on the Google machine, it's really easy to find all and a lot of it comes directly from FEMA. It's their website, FEMA.gov or whatever it is. All comes from there. So it's legit. And I screenshotted and I saved all the bookmarks. So if anybody comes at me like, oh, you're making shit up, I'm not making up anything. And I'll be happy to provide receipts. But in 2024, FEMA's budget was $37 billion. And they requested additional fundage before Helene. They requested it before Helene. So let's just round it up and say 40 billion, just for, because we can. And FEMA is authorized, so I also learned, FEMA is authorized to grant an individual up to $42,500 for like your home loss, and an additional $42,500 for other incidentals. So what is that, 85 grand per person? They are authorized to grant that. Okay. So I did a little bit more digging. Where did FEMA's money go? And you can't really tell for 2024. I couldn't find it in the 5 minutes that I spent looking. I'm sure somebody out there can find it. But in 2023, very easy to find because, again, it's on the FEMA website. Went to 5 major areas: Arizona, Texas, New York City, New Mexico, and Chicago, which all happen to be border or sanctuary. A lot went to Colorado too. There was I think $1 million went to Denver, but like Maricopa County in Arizona, 11 million. Pima County in Arizona, 28 million. I think New York City was right in that 27, 28-ish kind of million situation. And Chicago was way up there too. Go on the site, check it out. The numbers are there. It's really easy to find. So they've spent a lot of money on non-citizens. Sorry, my cat jumped up. On non-citizens. They have obviously been very well funded non-American citizens. Again, my uncle, and a lifelong American citizen, good, hardworking, salt of the earth kind of fella. Guess how much they're going to give him? $2,600. Yeah. An American citizen is worth $2,600 to our government. Make that make sense. Just make it make sense. I don't get it.
We're being screwed. We have lived being screwed for a very long time. It continues on. It gets worse and worse. They don't care. They lie repeatedly. They gaslight us. They scapegoat anyone they can. And I was thinking about Mayorkas saying on the rumor page, right? They have not diverted funds to the border or to the illegal migrants. They certainly have. But the use of the word diverted, well, he may actually be telling the truth. We're not diverting funds. We knew and we allocated this amount to go directly to the border to the illegal migrants. It's no diversion. We're just doing it. Okay, 2,600, his house was destroyed. Is this sinking in? Should. I hope it does. I really hope it does. You know, yes, God bless this man. Let me just jump through. I'll play him later. I'll play her later. She's a nurse in Yancey County, a nurse, and she's talking about all of the dead bodies that they're bringing in, and also just worse, you know, all of what people are experiencing. I'll play this. This is a short video. Multiple North Carolina Hurricane Helene victims speak out on what's really going on. Kamala Harris's FEMA. Why? We already decided that she's the president. Is that what's happening? Okay.
FEMA's here. You know what FEMA just told us? We can't get you a phone. I have no ID. I have no way to pay for food. He has no way to get gas. We're stuck. So we have to sleep in a car that's leaking with the same clothes we've had on since the...
It was a 30-foot wall of water just pushing through Lake Lure all the way down. My house washed away. I had a cat, I had 2 geckos. I lost it all.
It was like by a miracle that we made it. I started to call 911. I could not get through. I called again and I was able to get through. And I said, the water's coming in our house. And they said, get to higher ground. And I was like, okay, we're going in the attic. And we're overwhelmed with calls right now. That's all we can tell you to do. Your adrenaline's pumping. It's like, you're saving your life right now. You're doing it.
We're overwhelmed with calls right now, so get to high ground and you're on your own. And FEMA failure in the Southeast, okay, just alerted by friends in Greenville, South Carolina, that there is a massive failure by FEMA to deploy assets to assist those impacted. And they are feeling beyond frustrated and angry. 12 medvac helicopters just sitting there in Greenville. FEMA has 3 C-130 cargo planes just sitting there in Greenville. FEMA also has fuel tankers, ambulances, and other equipment ready to deploy sitting in Greenville, as seen in the videos attached. They've been sitting there since Sunday and have not been doing anything for Americans in need. What the hell is going on? But hey, apply for $750 and you'll probably be denied. I'll post the link. You can watch the videos. And I guess the new terminology for evidence is receipts. Unalive for dead. Okay, I'm getting hit. Look at this. Group of people and pets sitting in water. Sitting in water. Hendersonville, North Carolina.
James, you all right, bud? All right, we got to think about getting out of here because this is going to be. James, you all right, bud?
Now, we've seen this before in a senior center where a whole lot of seniors were sitting in water. Can't remember which event that was, but not North Carolina. It was years ago. Yes, present flooding is like past flooding. What's different with this is FEMA is really showing its face, or a whole lot of people are showing the face of FEMA and the non-help from government, and the scale of destruction. But we've seen this play out before, and I'm going to show some of it. Strange things happening in Asheville. I think I played that last night. Shocking report from an anonymous source claims FEMA is actively blocking rescue events and efforts in North Carolina. The medvac helicopter. And of course, it's going to circle around. I'll post the link. No doubt you can play it. And I do want to play this one. Nope, I'm on the wrong browser. Yeah, people are rescuing animals. People are rescuing people. Locals used our canoe to help rescue 6 dogs after a deadly mudslide. Community is everything. Yes, it is. Community is everything. Yes, it is. Should I say it again? community is everything. Yes, it is. Yeah. Socially engineered to destroy it, which we've all been a part of. Now we have to reverse it. So there's a lot of people doing an awful lot. But let me go back, and I'm going to post a link to Brush Junkie's video. A lot of very good information there. It's to circulate the information. Hurricane Helene flood victims in the Appalachians Mountains abandoned without help. And this is part 2. And thank you to everyone who spends the time, puts in the effort to locate the truth somewhere, because this is evidence of people caring. People just saying they care is not evidence. True care comes with action. That's when you know people aren't bullshitting you, because you can see it in how they live their life. Now, very good video of Truth Stream Media, and the link is in the chat. And I'm going to, the first, let's see, say the first 30 minutes it's very well put together. A lot of it you've seen on my live streams, but when people put together, the information, and it's very tight and very well put together. Yes, we do need to circulate it, but listen to, Hurricane Katrina and what's happening now. Big difference.
Hurricane Katrina, I mean, it has gone down in history as one of the worst responses. There were a lot of atrocities that happened in the responses. There were a lot of things that were being done that were absolutely not okay. But one of the things that was done is they were already calling out Coast Guard and positioning people before that hurricane ever even got to the coast. They already had military in position. Within days, they had deployed tens of thousands of guard and soldiers into that area. There were 30,000 National Guard troops deployed into that area for relief by September 2nd. Ironically, the North Carolina National Guard was sent down there, along with 3,500 soldiers out of the 82nd Airborne Division of Fort Bragg in North Carolina. They went down to New Orleans, along with 30 helicopters.
There's military helicopters all over here sitting on the ground, and they can't do nothing.
Which were prepared to deploy on short notice. They had 24,000 troops on the ground in Louisiana and Mississippi. I actually did a little more digging, and it's actually even more troops than that article mentioned, because they sent people out from the Army, the Marines. They sent out, they quoted a spokeswoman for the 82nd Airborne who said that at least 5,000 from her division would be sent. So it's even more. In fact, Lieutenant General Stephen Blum, chief of the National Guard Bureau, was quoted as saying they would send 10,000 more previously unplanned National Guard, bringing the total up to 40,000. So they sent 40,000 National Guard and many more Army units, Marine units. The point I'm trying to make is they sent so many military to assist after Katrina to those areas. Newspapers like the Miami Herald were running headlines, "Storm deployments prompt fears of strained forces," as if they were sending so many people because there was a war in the Middle East going on at the time of this. So that's how many, right? That's how many were sent. Now, why don't you compare that?
Now, you have to understand that all of those forces in New Orleans unfortunately, we're not really helping an awful lot of the people. Not everyone. Okay, there were people who got helped, but there was a lot of forces going door to door to confiscate arms, right? Okay, but there's a big difference, and we don't know. See, all of the military that we read in the newspaper, we don't know the actual truth unless we have people on the ground like Tony and Louisiana Skywatch, and all the other who have been affected by Katrina. We don't know what the military was doing on the ground. That's the unfortunate part. We're beginning to know what the military is doing with North Carolina, with FEMA, with Hurricane Helene. Not much. Not much. 82nd Airborne that deployed out to New Orleans is still sitting in North Carolina with no orders to go help out with the rescue efforts. And the 82nd Airborne is in North Carolina. So,
response to the response of 6,500 National Guard members and 1,000 active duty troops. Why don't you compare that to the fact that this storm hit that area Friday, September 27th, it hit that area. On Sunday, September 29th, North Carolina Governor Ray Cooper was quoted at a press conference as saying,
more than 500 North Carolina National Guard members are now working alongside local emergency responders, conducting search and rescue missions, delivering needed supplies, and working to restore infrastructure.
More than 500?
The North Carolina National Guard has increased to over 500 soldiers and airmen and over 200 vehicles.
Meanwhile, right next door, in Tennessee, which was also greatly impacted, they just sent more than 700 National Guard to the Middle East.
Their own are drowning and you deployed troops to Kuwait? Like, what is going on?
See the problem here? This is a horrifying disaster. It's now being called the second worst hurricane to hit since Katrina. And they didn't just send them to the Middle East, they did it after the storm hit. They deployed on Saturday. This storm hit on Friday. This is shameful. This is absolutely shameful. They're reporting now nearly 1,000 active duty troops, nearly 1,000? I thought it was 1,000, are joining 6,500 National Guard members from 15 states. 6,500. So you've got maybe 7,500. There were 25,000 Guard and active duty already on standby before Katrina ever hit land. That was what was being reported at the time. And that's Hurricane Katrina, which is, again, has gone down in history as one of the most botched, worst responses to a natural disaster that ever occurred. But they did that much. They haven't done what are they doing with this? And if you're thinking it's because New Orleans had more people at the time, there was under 1 million people in New Orleans in 2005 population. Western North Carolina, by contrast, the 23 most commonly associated counties in the 2020 census had well over 1 million people. So there's a lot of people just in Western North Carolina alone. And you have to remember, Eastern Tennessee also very much affected, South Carolina also affected, Georgia, Florida, all these other places have also been affected. But this particular area where these people are still trapped and everything, there's a huge amount of people living in those areas. It's just they're spread out in this mountainous area, but there's a lot of people there. So this is 11% of North Carolina's total population is living in that area. And Biden just now, October 2nd, is saying he will approve 1,000 troops. So right.
Okay. If any adult doesn't get that what is happening is intentional, then they have a very the rose-colored glasses that they are wearing to look at life. $750. A whole lot are being denied even that much. You have countless numbers of people now coming out and saying, I've been stopped. I can't, help out. You have to register with FEMA. And then you're even at that point, even when you get approval from FEMA to do some rescue and recovery and helping out, they're still preventing them from getting in there. Okay, so, and we all know that a whole lot are still trapped without water, without food. What happens? So the window of opportunity to do the rescue is in the first or second day, not 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days later. 7 days. And we hear from this Army guy, I don't know what rank he was, on mainstream media saying, yes, Biden has approved, I guess nearly 1,000 to come in. And actually, it was the mainstream media broadcaster who said, but they're not there yet. And he says, well, no, we have to coordinate. So 7 days, and they're still not there. And it may take an extra couple of days to coordinate with FEMA and the National Guard with the Army. It's intentional. I'm going to put the link in again. It was a very good video that needs to be circulated. And another one, which is Hustle Bitch. Busted, FEMA shocking $750 offer, the ultimate land grab scam exposed. The link is in the chat. Boy, they don't give you any time. On hitting enter. All right, so that's Truth Stream's video link. And this is
program. He claims it's
Hustle Bitch, his video. And yeah, I mean, how many times do you have to hear it?
money saving to help migrants. Adams' debit card program for migrants will reportedly give migrants up to $10,000 each in taxpayer money with no ID check, no restrictions, and no fraud control. So we're just going to keep piling money at these people after they illegally broke into the country and broke the law as their number one thing in America.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750.
Do you not get how the utter contempt, but they announce it all over the place. Americans, you're not even on their radar anymore. They don't care about you. They're getting rid of you. They want you dead or suffering. This is a very evil thing right here. But we've normalized evil. And, well, I'm voting for the lesser of two evil. You know, we've normalized being treated like shit. But we tell ourselves that we're exceptional. We have to stop doing that. Our psyches are messed up. And how will survivors rebuild in Helene's aftermath? And I'm just going to play a few minutes. And yeah, this man is talking about how there were a number of towns literally wiped off the map. Do they need help? Oh.
My name is Brett Jensen. I'm the senior reporter at WBT Radio here in Charlotte, and we are the largest news radio station either in North or South Carolina.
Wow. Well, Brett, it is really good to have you here. Welcome to The Take. You are based in Charlotte. Asheville. It's a city in western North Carolina that's home to about 95,000 people.
These are small towns, anywhere from
practically indescribable. So try as you can. How would you describe this?
The word that's being, tossed around a lot is, apocalyptic. We throw that word out there a lot, but at the same point, I don't know how else you describe it because, everything, there are villages that are no longer exist, that no longer stand. And when I say villages or small towns, anywhere from a village that maybe house, 500 people of residents to places that have 5,000 that just no longer stand and exist anymore due to either the flooding and the rivers and the creeks changing courses and deciding to go down Main Street because there's nowhere else for that river to go, or these gigantic mudslides, because you have to remember, we're in the mountains over there. And so all the water funnels down to the valleys, and it's the valleys where all the towns are. And so you've got all the water coming down on either side of you. And next thing you know, if you get 3 feet of rain over 3 days, which is what happened, it has to go somewhere, and you get all these mudslides. And so it's not just the flooding, it was all the mudslides that wiped people out and their houses and the communities out as well.
All right. Did I put the link in? It's bad. It's really bad. So, I hear people, talk about Maui. When people are talking about the weather manipulation, very often the examples are always the big examples or most recent, right? But we should be saying etc. after Maui, Paradise. There have been what you're looking at in North Carolina, in Tennessee, in Florida, in Georgia, in South Carolina, has happened repeatedly all over the country, all over the world also, but all over the country, one after another, year after year. So when you add it up, you're looking at millions upon millions who have faced what people are facing in North Carolina. The only difference is that it's up in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and town after town after town. And it was a hurricane that somehow did more destruction in North Carolina than it did in Florida, where the hurricane made landfall. Please make that make sense. So before I play this, I do have a playlist on my other channel, Never Lose Truth, and these are not the only flooding. It didn't start 6 years ago. I had 2 Kafka Winston World channels where I was posting on all of the flooding, but those channels are gone. I don't have those videos, but yeah, we have had a tremendous amount of destruction that I think a lot of people just forget about. And unfortunately, what happens is a week later, people even forget about the destruction that has taken place. Even the major destruction, North Carolina, Tennessee. And when we have now another hurricane coming, what's going to happen? A whole lot. We'll forget about Hurricane Helene and focus on Milton. But yeah, this was, I think a lot of these are from 6 years ago, the videos that I posted. I remember posting on the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, and it was, okay, look at what's going on here. Look at the roads. Look at the massive destruction in infrastructure. And this, it's going on and on and on. And more people just keep getting destroyed because the evil was not fought. But what did we see in the Upper Peninsula that took place yesterday? Flash flooding, 60 sinkholes, and take a look at these videos that show a tremendous amount of destruction. All right, so, if you want, go over to Never Lose Truth, go to the playlist, go to U.S. flooding. That's the playlist. And there's a tremendous amount of destruction. And I remember looking into what was happening in the Upper Peninsula, and I was, holy, was this a hurricane? No. It was a rainstorm that ripped up the roads. Look at this. So this is what we're living, a repeat. It just goes on and on and on. How about compilation of widespread flooding in Kansas and Wisconsin?
Good evening. Jeff Glor is off tonight. I'm Maurice Dubois. We begin with the storms that spoiled a lot of holiday plans. Tropical Storm Gordon has been pounding South Florida and the Keys with high winds and up to 5 inches of rain. And now hurricane warnings are up in some Gulf states. At the same time, much of the Midwest is underwater from relentless rainstorms. DeMarco Morgan is following this.
It's being called a 500-year rain occurrence that quickly turned towns into lakes in Riley County, Kansas.
It was one of the most significant events that we've experienced.
Ron Fear is the city manager of Manhattan, Kansas.
Things got flooded this time that have never been flooded before.
Hundreds had to be rescued by boat there when Wildcat Creek flooded 21 feet above crest. Jacob Wiener escaped just in time.
Just trying to get all my belongings together.
Okay, so it's been going on for a long time, and was the Joplin tornado in 2011 weather modification? Yes, absolutely. I posted on it. Dutch since 2011. Boy, did I learn a lot from that man, and I thank him. So grateful to have learned from him. But Dutch since was on it, especially 2011. Showing all of the heartbrings and literally predicting a tornado within 24 to 48 hours. And there it was. Okay. Houston, Texas. Now, unbelievable weather around the world, but U.S. flash flooding all over.
Here, leave your car. Cause what car are you in? You in a little car, ain't you? Yeah, you gotta walk. You can't drive down here, see?
Well, Ginger, good morning. That record rainfall causing problems here in Houston. And take a look at the Buffalo Bayou just behind me. You may be able to see that strong current still draining the water that paralyzed parts of this region. Overnight, extreme flash flooding stranding drivers and triggering rescues across Houston. Entire neighborhoods underwater. The rapid downpour sweeping through the city, at one point dropping as much as 4 inches every hour. Roads washed away, this sinkhole opening up, nearly swallowing a car. And just look at this highway, completely flooded.
There's flooding and there's at least 4,000 vehicles.
Reports of more than 120 drivers calling into Houston police because they were stranded in floodwater.
We were expecting 2 to 3 inches of rain for the entire day. Mother Nature had its own way of calling on us.
And when you say they were...
So for any of you who didn't read what's here, so that was the mayor of Houston then. And, well, Mother Nature, had her own plans. The new face of Mother Nature. Yes, the former director of the Texas Weather Modification Association. And here he's being interviewed, letting people know, oh yeah, we can make it rain. We can make it rain for a longer period of time, and we can drop a tremendous amount of rain. You have and at that time, the director of the Texas Weather Modification Association admitting that they can cause all of the flooding, but still we can't get through to people. This was 6 years ago, okay?
And when you say they responded very well, what does that mean?
It means that the storm lived longer and produced more rain over a larger area.
Jose Figueroa was driving home when he sprang into action, rescuing a family of 5 trapped inside their car.
Luckily, they could roll down their windows and get out.
Here, I've never seen anything like it. I remember posting this video saying, this is what we hear now from everyone. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. Yeah, never seen anything like it. Freak storm takes thousands by surprise and off the power grid. Nevada. How about Kentucky? Kentucky floods. And what I am showing you is just a mere few of what I've captured, and I have not been able to capture all of it. This has been going on every year, only getting worse.
From the air, Kentucky's governor absorbed the damage below. One community of many where they will have to start again if they survived. The number known not to have made it continues to rise. Victims of flash floods which swamped these small Appalachian towns in minutes. These are some of the poorest communities in America.
It's bad, it really is. We been a fireman almost 27 years, and this is the worst I've ever seen it. People unaccounted for, probably 95% of the people in this area here has lost everything. Houses, cars, animals. It's heartbreaking, it really is.
Scores have been airlifted from homes cut off, and it's not just the floods, mudslides too. Hundreds of homes have been destroyed. Another unprecedented catastrophic weather event.
How are we having unprecedented catastrophic weather events over and over and over again? Biden surveys storm damage, visits with residents in Mayfield, Kentucky. This was the tornado that took out Mayfield, Kentucky. Probably a lot of you will remember, but then there have been towns in Kentucky that have been hit so hard with flooding that a whole lot we just forget about. We forget about these massive tornadoes that kill people, destroy whole towns. But mainstream media was really focusing on Mayfield as if there wasn't tornadoes happening all around, tornadoes going into other states. But it does seem that mainstream media focuses in on one area, and that's their focus. No. When you see this and they're focusing, like they're focusing on Asheville right now, know that there's an awful lot of towns, in Helene's case, states, that are dealing with the same thing. Here you get the tornado, then you get devastating floods. And a whole lot of people are dying from these.
Tonight, this grocery store has nothing to sell.
It's just devastation. Total devastation.
Deadly floods gutted Gwen Christian's supermarket.
We can tell about where the water came up because look at this shelf. Looks like nothing ever happened and everything else.
But this is another flood from the first flood that I showed you in Kentucky.
Mud.
What you have to understand is our customers are our family. The people who works in this store is our family. We know each other. We know each other's pains.
Neighbor Natasha York lost everything.
I have no belongings. I have no home. I have nothing.
Multiple times each year, people losing everything. Ellicott, remember Ellicott, the flooding? Maryland, Ellicott City, Maryland. Well, it's tied to the Agenda 2030 mega region construction. Hi, everyone. It is August 23rd. The FEMA home buyout program has been going on for decades. So what they do is they bring about the weather and they flood people out. And then they flood them out repeatedly. And the homeowners cannot sell their properties. That's it. The only option they have is FEMA buying it out, pennies on a dollar. And this program requires that the county put in a certain percentage, and FEMA will, like 25%, FEMA will buy out the home or the entire neighborhood, which also goes on, for 75%. They'll put in 75%, but the condition is that the county signs off on is that nobody can build. That's it. They raise all of the properties, all of the homes, no more structures. It's green space, moving people along into urban areas or killing people off. Now, the Texas named, oh my God, finalist in a Hyperloop challenge. Remember all of those, high-speed railways? Has anything come about? No. Where did the money go? Right? Where did the money go? Repeated flooding helps reshape the United States. FEMA to coastal property owners, don't count on help. Yeah.
Lang had only had the car for about a month. Luckily, he crawled out the back windows, unharmed, and called for help.
Kind of sucks because I don't have a car anymore.
Woke up at about 3 this morning to thunder and lightning. Kind of looked outside, didn't really see anything, pouring rain. Then my husband's alarm went off at 6. He come in at about 6:05 and said, we're flooded.
She wasn't kidding. Again,
the flooding. Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. This little touristy kind of area of Tennessee got destroyed. For those that don't read, mainstream media tells Americans that FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program is a scam. Videos, and the second part of the video is the massive flooding. But I also point out the signatures of all of the storms that caused massive flooding in this video.
It was like a tsunami, literally.
It's like a tsunami.
Dangerous out there in terms of the storms, the flooding potential, and this isn't it. This could continue happening throughout the day. Of course, I'll have more about that coming up in your full forecast.
It's easier for me to just go through what I have seen on the national mosaic, so I apologize for interjecting here. I will get to the videos showing you the damage that has occurred, once again, manufactured by man. So these circular patterns that you see, very defined circle, it's a circle of precipitation. These are the next-rad Doppler radar high frequency of the ionosphere. That's the signature. The straight lines are the signatures of these extremely low frequencies that fan out in a circle. This is what is causing the extreme weather events. And those extreme weather events that came about from this storm up in the Northeast was pretty darn extreme. In New Jersey, on main roads, the cars just floating on. You know, how is it that we're not questioning what's going on? But I think people that they just go from event to event and forget about those events in the past, and they look at this event, no, but they're not putting it together with all of the events and then all of the evidence of weather modification and geoengineering. But this is what FEMA does. So here we go. All right, and also please keep in mind the following. Just over the recent months, thousands of Americans have had their homes flooded, and their cars flooded, and their trees falling into homes, and their community roads and businesses destroyed, and many have died. Add the 2018 numbers to the numbers of Americans who have faced similar experiences due to flooding over the past decade, and you have millions of Americans who have been scammed. And keep in mind the following: the flooding is not a natural disaster, but manufactured by man. And here it is, the high power, extremely low frequency radiation generated by modulated high frequency heating from next-rad Doppler of the ionosphere can cause earthquakes, cyclones, localized heating, here we are.
A CBS News investigation reveals that a federal fund intended to protect flood victims often benefits private insurance companies instead. The National Flood Insurance Program, run by FEMA, is $25 billion in debt. In some years, up to 2/3 of the money that's supposed to help flood victims goes to private insurance companies and the attorneys they hire to fight flood claims. CBS Evening News anchor Jeff Glor is here with our CBS News investigation. Jeff, good morning.
Nora, good morning. When record floods hit Louisiana in 2016, 150,000 people had damage to their homes, an estimated $15 billion in damage. 2 years later, many homeowners are still struggling to rebuild and fighting the same companies and lawyers that they fund with their premiums and taxpayer dollars.
You can still see some of the mud.
Ricky Wall and Melissa Miles were trapped in their home for 3 days when flooding hit Louisiana in 2016.
Beautiful home's gone.
It was coming so fast.
Yeah.
It was white capping over the road.
Over the roads.
Covered in sewer water, they thought things couldn't get worse.
It was pretty tough. Heartbreaking.
Their home was ruined, but they had a flood insurance policy that they were required to buy worth $176,000.
The insurance company was a nightmare.
Nightmare.
It was
almost as bad as the flood.
I about had a stroke fighting with them people every day.
When insurance didn't pay enough to fix their home, they had to come up with the cash themselves to do it. And so they decided to fight the National Flood Insurance Program for lowballing them. They are still fighting for $40,000.
This is ridiculous that I'm paying for something that I have to fight for.
Run by FEMA, the National Flood Insurance Program is responsible for all flood policies in the U.S. Insurance premiums and taxpayer dollars fund the program, about $3 billion a year. But FEMA doesn't administer all the policies. It outsources to private insurance companies called Write Your Owns, or WYOs. They and all of their agents get paid out of the same pot of money as flood victims. Some years, up to 2/3 of that pot goes to WYOs and the attorneys they hire to fight against flood victims.
Come on, buddy.
In effect, by paying their premiums on time every year, homeowners like Ricky and Melissa help fund the very lawyers fighting them in court.
How can they sleep at night doing us what they done?
Wall's insurance company hired the Louisiana law firm of Gerald Nielsen to fight Ricky and Melissa's claim. Nielsen's firm has been fighting flood claims on behalf of insurance companies for over 30 years, not without controversy. After Superstorm Sandy, Congress criticized Nielsen's firm for how it defended WIOs, whose engineers allegedly altered reports to avoid paying claims.
He dealt with Sandy victims like they were the perpetrators
enriching himself at their expense.
A New York judge called Nielsen's misconduct in one Sandy case remorseless for delaying cases at taxpayer expense. To give you an idea of the costs involved here, you could rent this 1965 Bentley Silver Cloud for just under $1,000 for the afternoon. Nielsen's office spent 5 times that to ship documents to this law office from one that is half a mile away. CBS News obtained a budget drafted in 2014 for a Sandy case, showing Nielsen's firm estimated that a single case would cost $188,000 taxpayer dollars if it went to trial. The cap on any home flood policy is $250,000.
Mr. Nielsen, we're with CBS News.
Nielsen didn't want to talk to us about his fees and expenses.
But I've got to go through Ethics Council because some of what you've asked clearly is privileged.
A public information request revealed FEMA paid Nielsen's firm at least $29 million for Sandy cases alone.
Things need to change.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to do something about it.
How are you?
Wall hired attorney John Hotaling. Hotaling's firm represents flood victims and fought in court against Nielsen's firm during Sandy.
There was no effort to mitigate the cost. In many cases, we were asked to have experts re-inspect for a third time homes that were totally destroyed.
FEMA says it has no authority to fire lawyers hired by private insurance companies.
They're jacking around policyholders. That's unacceptable. And somebody's got to do something about it. And by God, it's supposed to be FEMA.
Senator John Kennedy has a bill to change that.
Once they get that authority, I will chase them like a hound from hell until I find out that they fix this problem, because I believe there is a problem.
Come on. Homeowners like Wall wish FEMA had tightened its belt before making him pay out of his own pocket.
That's not fair. And they say that's the American way. That's not fair.
No, it's not fair. And did they fix the problem? No, they didn't. So this is what people face all of the time. They literally have to sue their insurance agent, who is actually being paid by FEMA to hire the lawyers to fight the claims. Wow. And it goes on and on and on. I think we've got a problem in our country. Don't you? But more and more. This, Texas Weather Modification Advisory Board admits it can make a ton of rain.
Really think it is. So
You see this guy? I don't know his name, and I believe he is the Weather Modification Director. I might be wrong on that title. This man, a friend, subscriber of mine who lives in Dallas, Texas, called him. She called him. And the response that she got, if I'm remembering correctly, she said he was like a child. He was laughing, and he was dismissing what she was saying about the weather. She called him, asked him, about this was the director of the Texas Weather Modification Association, where they literally have a YouTube channel where they discuss their weather modification projects to a board. And it's mind-boggling how it is that people are just, you're crazy. They don't do that. They do it. They tell you they do it. But when confronted, and this was a subscriber in Texas who called him, and his response was just to laugh at her. This is the man who is in charge of weather modification in Texas, and he was dismissing everything that she was saying. This is what he said in an interview.
This summer?
This summer.
You
Dallas, Texas called him. She called him. And The response, what he said in an interview.
This summer?
This summer.
You succeeded in increasing rainfall?
South of San Antonio, we had aircraft flying on a dozen days in the month of July, treating what we deemed to be seedable storms.
And what was the result of that?
The same result that we've seen since it started in 1997. Some clouds respond very well. Some clouds respond only to a limited degree. Maybe one or two instances when clouds didn't respond as we had hoped, probably because we got to them too late.
And when you say they responded very well, what does that mean?
It means that the storm lived longer and produced more rain over a larger area.
Did you hear that? They can create rain over larger areas for longer periods of time. Think Harvey, 4 days. And it flooded out over 1 million homes. This is the destruction that we are witnessing with every weather event. Yeah, well, it does get a little frustrating. Sometimes infuriating. And then what happens when your area gets flooded out and, well, you don't get that declaration of disaster? You're on your own. You're really on your own. Property owners get no help. And this, I believe, Chatham County, I think in Pennsylvania, not sure, but yeah, my channel playlist is just, yeah, a lot. It's been going on. So many have lost their homes, lost everything. Some have had that experience repeatedly. Yeah, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? 109 videos. Connect the dots. Weather events, depopulation, employment opportunities, mega regions, Hyperloop. You know, oh, and in that Upper Peninsula, Michigan video, Donald Trump, Tesla, Donald Trump talking about his brilliant uncle, John, who was selected to sit down and review the Tesla notes after they killed Tesla. It was John Trump. Oh, now let's say it was Obama and it was Obama's uncle. Every person would be on it. Can't trust this guy. Are you kidding? Okay. Well, he talks in an interview, Donald, about his uncle and what he learned from his uncle. And yes, he did say in that interview, the destructive force of weapons. Can't remember exactly what he said, but he said, will really be shocking. Well, we're witnessing it. He knows. Donald knows. So we have to get on the same page. And how do you get on the same page with the children, adult children, who still are looking for a savior and they won't take in any information that savior is not going to be saving them? And a whole lot, of these were pretty much around the same time. Evidence of storm held in place over Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Indiana. 6 years ago. Hurricane Florence, the killing of an awful lot of livestock. This has been going on and on and on and on. So, while I can't say that I'm shocked, I'm kind of horrified at the scale of Hurricane Helene's destruction, and more also kind of horrified at Americans who you can't get still that we never had hurricanes that did more destruction 800 plus miles away from landfall, inland, and they're not questioning it. What that means is that more people will suffer, and that's what we live now, watching these evil bastards destroy us. I don't know about you, but I'm not too fond of that. I don't like evil people. They do need to be stopped because they will stop at nothing. So we've known it, we've seen it. We know that we can't stop the agendas, so what we do have control over is ourselves and how we operate in our communities, what we do to help one another. And boy, we do have to come together, support one another, make life a little easier for one another. And I do. It is just like this man. Let me play this video. Does this work here? I don't know. Oh, and oh my God, there's actually a link to his TikTok channel. But yeah, we need to circulate. When people ask us to circulate the information, that's what we need to do. My God, if you can't do that, then you're probably not doing anything.
Hey guys, this is an invitation to all the people displaced. I don't have much, but I have 84 acres in eastern Kentucky. I got a place for you to come, to get your bearings, to get ready. If you need to be here permanently, temporarily, it doesn't matter to me. I hope this video gets out. I just had my account banned. I had 105,000 awesome followers, awesome network of people that I lost just like that. And that could happen to every one of us, and it will eventually. It's inevitable. So while we can, we need to use this app. And right now I need your help because I don't have that. I'm relying on you to like this, share this, repost this, get this out to the people in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, Tennessee. We're here for you. Now, Gary, why does this hit you so hard? Well, it's not just hit me so hard because I'm watching people suffer. I'm in eastern Kentucky, but I was born and raised in Rutherford, North Carolina. Chimney Rock, Lake Lure, that's where I used to spend my childhood at the lake. And all my family's there. My aunts, my uncles, my sisters, every bit of my immediate family live in that Rutherford County. And I don't have much. I don't have resources to go down there and take y'all a bunch of resources. I don't have that financially, but what I do have is this mountain, and I invite anyone that needs a place to come. Like I said, temporarily, permanently, it doesn't matter. But my land is your land. We're Americans, and the darkness is all around us, guys. But I'll tell you what, it's time for the light to shine. You're the light. We're the light, man. So if you could just do me a real big favor, guys, like this, share this, repost this. You don't have to follow me. I'm not in this for followers. I'm really not. I just hope this video reaches just a few people. I don't care if it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 1,000, 500. It doesn't matter. If you need a place, DM me. If you know someone that needs a place, DM me. Let's get this video out there, guys. We only have each other. We don't have no man's going to come and save us. No political party's going to save us. We, the people, are all we got right now. If you can't look around and see this, then you're blind. So do me a favor, guys, and let's get this video out. Like I said, my account was banned. I had 100,000 followers, awesome network of people. I lost them all. Lost them all.
Okay, so how do you DM him? Here's another one offering the same. Southeastern Kentucky, retired military, and live on 100 acres. I'll stand with him. I have 50 acres. It's available to anyone in need. Indiana, on 60 acres, with a small building that we could make into a tiny home. It's these are the changes that we need to make. But it would be helpful, considering that this man's TikTok channel is gone, that, let's see.
Hey, guys.
Okay. Good. What? Unable to verify me as a human. Hey, I've been verified. Okay, so I'm going to post the link to he did say he lost subscribers, not that he lost his channel. Okay, so the link is in the chat. Circulate. Yeah, circulate it. Because there's a lot of people in need. And it hurts living. Just surviving every day. I've been found put. Don't really understand that. All right. Yeah. Most importantly, live honestly, speak honestly, be a trustworthy human being, and in your communities, help out, do what you can to lighten the load of a lot of people. And on that note, I say thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night, and good night, good luck. Ciao, guys.